just ask that you speak into the microphone so that you can hear it on all the platforms. Ms. Kia will be presenting and she'll be putting different things up on the board so that we can look at. I do ask that you just have the conversation, not out of the, quiet, because I will say dealer, that's what I do. I'll say I'm a dealer. And let's just have fun. Yeah, maybe some other people coming in, we'll just direct them to come on, go around so they, so they don't start talking. And, are we getting started?
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
Oh,
Um,
I was like, wait, that's the camera.
oh, are we?
Hello. Welcome to Conversations That Matter. As we conclude our awareness initiatives for March, multiple sclerosis awareness, kidney health awareness, organ donation, and women's health, we would like to thank you for joining us today. Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Zeta Chi chapter, and Kia White for a meaningful discussion on the impact of these issues in our community with networking and conversation. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kia White.
Well, hello, everyone. Today we're going to have a conversation. Please excuse my voice allergies. But my name is Kia White. I'm a public health strategist, and I've been in public health for over 20 years, promoting community health, education, awareness on various topics. And tonight is no different, but I'm not going to be the one lecturing you. Instead, we're going to have guided conversation cards to help you navigate tough conversations that we may not always feel comfortable or want to have with our family members or towards each other. Before I get started, I do want to thank you ladies for the invitation to come and host and help facilitate this event. So thank you so much. It is two very important things this month. It is Women's History Month. And so I thought this would be a great way to incorporate that if we're all women talking about women's health issues and different things that affect us. You know, we are usually the caretakers, the decision makers. We're taking care of everyone else. And sometimes we neglect ourselves. So I thought this was an important conversation to have today. And then also, it's Kidney Awareness Month. And so we do have this here from National Kidney Foundation that's taking part in the conversation as well. So thank you for joining us. And without further ado, I want to get started with the conversation. So again, you know how they have these like relationship conversation cards, boundary cards, and they help couples really navigate those tough conversations. So that's what we're going to do tonight. It's not going to be me lecturing you all, but we're going to navigate through different health topics using these conversation prompts. At the end, if you don't mind, there's going to be a QR code so we can get some feedback on how you think this all went, if you could fill that out. And then once you fill it out, you'll get your very own copy of the conversation card yourself. So, so how do you use these cards? Now we might switch it up a little bit because of time. It's 30 cards and I don't think we'll be able to get through them all, but I do want to make sure we touch on every topic. So we're going to pick the card from any category. So I might skip around with the PowerPoint. In the PowerPoint, they're in a certain order, but again, I might skip around. We're going to read the awareness statement aloud if it has one. So some of the cards may have a fact on it or awareness statement. And then we're going to share the discussion questions with each other. It says with a group, but we're all one big group. So even, well, I guess online, you know, you could type in your thoughts. And we're going to ask if you allow space for open conversation, honesty, and respect, you know, everyone's opinion and point of view. And there are no wrong answers. Everyone's matters. All right. So the cards are divided into different sections: personal health, community health, family and legacy, and then kidney awareness. So we're going to start with personal health reflection. And the question is, when was the last time you had a full health checkup, and what motivated you to go or not to go?
I'll go first. I just had it last week. But one, I want to get my points from my insurance company. So I want to put it in to get my money. Oh,
You gotta use the microphone.
all right. So it was last week, and I wanted to get my points from my insurance company, number one. And then number two, they actually texted me and said, hey, you need to get your wellness check. You need to go ahead and get your whole physical. So I actually went in and got my physical. So because of the insurance and because my primary, they are constantly reminding me, I just went ahead. Now, the question is, when was the last time I went? like 2 years ago. So here we are.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll share an opposing view, unfortunately. So I get regularly checkups for mammograms, OB/GYNs, things like that. But my primary care, just to go and do blood work, I rarely do that. So I have an opportunity to go on an annual basis just to get an overall checkup. But the little ones, I seem to check those off. Dental, vision, mammogram, OB/GYN, I do those as prescribed annually. But just to go and talk to a primary care, unless something is wrong, I tend not to go.
Let's see, the last time I went, I usually go every, like, first quarter of the year. I have on both sides of my family, my mother and my father, I have, on my dad's side, I have heart disease. My dad died at 38 of heart attack. And on my mother's side is diabetes, so I have, hereditary. And I myself was, diagnosed with high blood pressure, I would say 5 years ago. Luckily, I lost some weight last year and I've been off of my high blood pressure medicine for, I say, almost a year. And and so I usually do that. And also I am just turned 52 and I wanted to see a doctor that was certified in menopause. That's not a topic that's not talked a lot about until recently. So I wanted to talk with someone that was educated, and so that's what I did, and it's been very helpful. She listens and doesn't, just blow you off as far as like what menopause is. And so, yeah, it motivated me because I have, family history, so I want to be around a long time. So I try to take care of me.
Anyone else? And you mentioned something that was important, your family history. And I think that's important, to know, like, if you are going to get checked up or, for any situation, to know, like, the genetics behind it and your family history and what may be predisposed to, right? So thank you for bringing that up. And kudos to you for getting off medication with diet and exercise. It can be done. I'm sure it took a lot of discipline. All right, any online? You want to chat in?
No questions online at the moment.
All right, let's move on to the next question. What does being healthy mean to you beyond the absence of illness? So when you think about health holistically, not just saying, you're disease free, what else, does it mean to you?
Mental.
That's a big one. Mental health is very important. And it's something that, that was my question. Yes, mental health is very important. And it has been a stigma in our community, but I think we're getting over that. It's becoming more of a cultural norm to seek a therapist, to seek, psychiatrists, meds if needed, and also do preventive measures. Anyone else think of something?
For me, I always think about, do I have enough energy to get the things done that I want to get done?
Yeah.
And maybe I have too many things on my list sometimes, but I always feel like I should be able to get up and have enough energy to feel great throughout the day. That's kind of what healthy means to me, with proper diet and proper exercise as well.
I would say stress management. Stress management is a big one because stress can affect so many things if you don't get a big control over it. and it can sneak up on you. You can be feeling fine, and all of a sudden your body goes haywire. And like, what? What just happened here? You know. So I would say for me, it's stress management. All right, next one. So preventive care can detect health issues before they become serious. What is one health habit you've been wanting to start but haven't yet? What's what you need?
I read that one. Funny. Let me turn.
Anybody? Don't be shy.
I want to stop like snacking. I think that I have a habit where I can stop for a while. And I mean, I don't over consume. It's just that like I'm a binge snacker. So it's either I'm not or I'm like all the way. And I do it sometimes when I'm like, when I focus on something. So for example, I was working on a certification and then I said, well, hey, during this time, I'm not going to drink alcohol. So I stopped drinking alcohol. But I think I replaced it with snacking.
Mm.
It's like a coping mechanism, maybe, or like a distraction.
Maybe it is a distraction. I think that's the coping mechanism. I think that like, so I think usually I'm always in a routine. And when I'm studying or when I'm focusing on one thing, I break out of that routine and I'm home more because I'm focused on studying. So I'm home and I'm eating. But like outside of that, like I have a strict schedule, like I'm in the gym doing this and doing that. But when I'm focusing on one specific thing, that routine kind of breaks. So everything kind of, my life basically goes in shambles, I guess. Yeah.
So it's like you're studying and focusing is like a trigger to snack or.
I think it's just, maybe it's a comfort.
It's comfortable. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm working on my doctorate. So she knows. And man, I've gained so much weight. Damn. Because it's like when you're eating, for me, it's a celebration, I think. So it's like, oh man, I made it. Or like my brain is, I don't know. I don't know the science behind it. And doctors in the house. But for me, I know what's going on, but I don't know the science. I mean, I actually went to my primary. I did talk to her about this. For me, it's more of when I'm thinking, researching, and I'm in the stress mode, but I know what I'm doing. I feel like, oh, let's stop and go get some popcorn. Let me go get some candy, and it just helps me. It helps me feel better.
Yeah.
It gives me the energy to keep going because you're constantly sitting at your computer. You're constantly sitting. So I'm like, okay, get up till you walk around. Go get some. Go to the cabinets, and y'all be going to the refrigerator. Check the refrigerator. Nothing's there. You say get you check the refrigerator, like, man, oh man, I ain't got the ice cream today. Sure. But yeah. So that I feel if that's what you're saying, it's just like it gives you it calms you, especially if your brain is constantly going and you're typing and researching, and then you just gotta walk away. And my goal is to walk away to work out, but that's
Yeah.
but that's not my healthy. I was gonna go, but that's not my healthy habit. My healthy habit I need to give up is the caffeine. Because of that, it's the caffeine. And we had a conversation earlier. I am a Starbucks person or a coffee person. And when I went to my primary, they kind of told me like, hey, you know, I'm getting older. It's like you probably need to lay off the caffeine. But because we're in grad school and you know, it's a lot. I drink coffee a lot. So I for the last week or so, I went to decaf. I do decaf anyway, but I still got my caffeinated carrot, you know, things. So I went back to my addiction. Caffeine in my cup, and then like I'm actually going out to restaurants now. You know, if you want to like, what do you want? A lot of restaurants carry more caffeinated drinks, like diet. I do diet, but they have diet Coke or diet, and I'm like, you have zero, like Coke, Sprite Zero, something. It's like no, so I have to go back to water. So just getting away from the caffeine, I have found it to be even chocolate is really hard. So that's that. Oh boy, y'all, it's hard. Help me, ladies, help me. It's my healing journey. Is that what we're doing today? We're gonna work
Yeah,
out.
this conversation brings about the more the merrier.
Giving up.
I'm gonna start getting more sleep, but
Mm.
you know, some things that I'm. I was 17 when I'm at home, so that's that. Anyone else want to picture?
I would say for me, I think I'm kind of in between now. I'm getting a little bit better, but stressy, which is probably similar to what you all said. But if I'm stressed, I eat what I'm not supposed to eat because I guess it's kind of like I guess comforting,
Mhm.
and it makes you like take your mind off it, even though you shouldn't be eating it. But it's just like I guess a comforting feeling, and yeah, yeah, yeah. And getting enough sleep, like you said, that's I'm working on that.
I got another one. So one health habit is that I would like to incorporate working out more, but into my lifestyle. So right now, like I only work out like seriously when I have a goal, or when I say to myself, "Oh, I want to drop 20 pounds or whatever." But after that, I kind of slack, and I want to be more consistent. So what's holding me back? I don't
Hold on, cause some of the people in the room don't know. When she said she goes hard when she works out, she was not playing. She was in there every day. Janet was in there with her. Jan-
She won't be up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
5 o'clock in the morning. So
Like just goes to the gym. Yeah, that's like.
so you have a drive that a lot of people I know I don't have at the beginning. So yeah, no.
But are you? I thought you're in school. Sounds like too, right? Like
No.
college. I mean, like working here. Okay. Because like to me, I know we used to work out a lot, and then I got to the point where I just can't. If you have something extra on your plate, for me, I just can't. I'm trying to figure out that balance. So like I'm a teacher, but then I come home, I'm working off the kids all day. Then I come home. I even try to do my graphic work at home, and then you gotta cook, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. So for me, it's like we talked today, how much can our bodies handle? Like how do we sort out our priority? And yes, I want to work out, but physically, and that was the issue. Like I said, when I went to my primary, that was the actual conversation I had with her. It's like I need more energy. And I'll be honest, she put me, I don't take any antidepressants or anything, but she put me on Wellbutrin. And I didn't know if y'all knew that, but she was like, that helps with weight loss. And I was like, but I'm not depressed yet. But I was like, maybe I am. Maybe when I'm sitting here and
Maybe that is what it is, right?
maybe I am. But what she trying to tell me? So yeah. So like I get what you're saying. It's like, how do you work out? How do you get the energy to even get motivated when you have so much? And like I said, maybe it's not school, but if you have other things in your life that you got to prioritize, how do you set that priority?
But I think that as women, right, we prioritize everything else but
I know.
yeah, so even saying how do you prioritize, like we don't put ourselves first and all. Like my son went to college in 2023. Before that, it was all about him, right? So when he went to college, I was like, who's Janet? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm sitting in the house like, where my friends at? But it's because I didn't prioritize myself that whole time. And even now, if someone calls me, I'm dropping everything and I'm going to help them. I don't prioritize me either. Um, and I think that's just women. That's our nature is to nurture and do other things for other people. And so we have to learn how to. That's not happen because clearly I'm still trying to make it. We have to figure out how to put us first.
Yeah. Yeah, life is definitely different than when I was single and teaching Zumba 6 days a week and all the things to being married and a mom. It's like, it's different. And it definitely changes the dynamics when you have all this responsibility. Yeah, that's it.
I tell you what I
When
do.
somebody can answer the question, listen.
I'm trying to, what I do for myself, because I'm like you, Kim. I think the last time we saw each other, we both were singing. And so I would, 2 times a day, I would go work out. I was to 5 o'clock in the morning. I used to teach at one point, but then I became a student. And I used to go back and work out in the evening after working all day. But now that I'm married, and work full time and have household responsibilities and stuff like that. What I started to told myself is like I've seen so many people my age and younger passed away from stuff, and I was like, like you said, you prioritize everything, education, your job, your kids, your husband, but you can't pour from an empty cup. So I told myself, I said, I had 24 hours. I deserve at least 30 or 45 minutes. So what I do is I hibernate. I ain't gonna lie, I do not like working out in the cold. So I may hibernate from maybe November to like now. But I do where I have a walking pad at home, but I tell myself when my husband walks the dogs, I'm gonna work out for at least 30 minutes myself. So I'm gonna put myself on a time block where this is my time, no matter what.
That's gotta get up.
Right. Stop. I'll do it, in the evening if I'll try. I'm not perfect, but
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Next question. How does stress and mental health affect your physical well-being?
For me, I'll talk. I have multiple sclerosis. And one of the main triggers is stress. So they say don't stress. What's that?
Yeah, that's
What's that? I caught COVID back then, and I now have long haul COVID to where I developed, it's called inappropriate tachycardia. So my resting heart rate is 120. I wear an Apple Watch. This thing goes ding, 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 and I'm down stressing. My investors doctors tell me not to stress, so it's so much, right? Um, and so I was in the hospital back in October. I thought I was having a heart attack. Like I was having sharp pains, couldn't breathe or anything like that. Went to the hospital. Um, and one of the things that pretty much it was like the perfect storm. I had an MS attack, plus my tachycardia was happening, stress at work and things like that. And so one of the things that I had to tell myself is I have to be here for my son, kind of like what you were saying. So I have to be here. So don't stress about it. Don't stress about anything. So now what I do at work, they try to throw projects at me all. Okay. You got it. I have any kind of like conflict with family on the phone. All right, love you. Talk to you later. Gotta go. Bye. And that has helped me kind of control the stress. Like it's almost like control the controllable, right? And not overthink things or do extra things. It was just like you had a health scare and you need to be here. So what can you do? So mentally, I think that my body was, even though I wasn't feeling stressed or depressed or anything, like my body was telling me, you are.
Yeah.
So you need to figure it out. And so I think a lot of times we don't listen to our bodies either because we'll say, oh, I'm fine. But it kind of tells you every once in a while, like, hey, slow down. Or you sit at the computer, I'm tired. Oh, let me go get some coffee. I'm not. So on a daily basis, I would say kind of control the controllables and listen to your body because you have to be here. Everyone in this room has to be here.
Yes.
You have to be here. So
And I mean, it's unfortunate, but sometimes things like that happen to ground us and to sober us and keep us aware that, wait a minute, let's put things into perspective here. What really matters? Is this worth my life? So yeah, that's a good point. Anyone else? All right, question. We're doing it on time. I guess it's we're almost done with the personal health reflection. What role does food play in your overall health, and how has that relationship changed over time? Oh, so that so I mean,
say that, like, when I have downtime, like, I love looking up recipes and stuff, so I love trying new things, and unfortunately, most of the things that I'm trying or that they're promoting on social media is not good for you.
Yeah.
I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't drink a lot of milk, but then I try to drink things like, maybe oat milk or I need some type of substitute, but that's not good for you guys. So, I mean, ultimately, nothing is good for you.
Right.
What should we do? So,
Well, I think, I mean, it can be a double-edged sword, right? You can use food to help heal your body, fruits and vegetables and getting the right amount of proteins and nutrients. And then if we don't have a healthy relationship with it, we can use it as a coping mechanism, as a drug, as a way to self-soothe if we're grieving or sad or depressed or something. So and I can speak for Liz because for a while, like when I was younger, like again, I still do love food, don't get me wrong, but when I was younger, it was like we would go on family vacations and I would just get so excited about buffet. Sweet, and it does something in your brain. It releases that, the serotonin, the dopamine and all that, and you're like, you get this connection from it. But over time, as I got older, I had to really think like, wait a minute, you should not be swinging your feet over this plate of food. Like, you have to concentrate yourself. Okay, I need food to survive, yes, but I don't need to be getting this excited. I know it's trivial, but some people, well, I know I can speak for myself. That sometimes I have to say, like, you don't have to get this excited. Yes, it's gonna taste good, but calm down. That's over time.
You made me think about, so this is more like a childhood, but for me, it was, I also thought about, my sister and I talked about this conversation. When I grew up as a little kid, my mom always had me clean my plate. I don't know if you all had to do that. So I remember when I was little, when I was full, it was, you're not leaving the kitchen table until this plate.
You finish that plate. Mhm. Yep.
And I didn't have that. And my sister and I talked about that because we are all, like plus size. And my sister and I, we really talked about it. We said sometimes we think like we grew up that way. So as we became adults, it's like we got to clean our plate. We don't know when to stop. We don't know when to say, okay, we're full or drink your water. Back then I think mom was like, you can't drink until you finish your food or something. So
Yep.
just thinking about your overall health, like I want to stop. Like I just like I tea, but sometimes I'm like, I go to the restaurant now. Like, I got this little steak left. It's too much to take home.
You're right.
Wait, but in my head, that little girl in me was like, "Girl, just finish it." And then what happens? I'm now getting
We all
bigger.
bloated and stuff.
So,
Yeah. Mhm.
so I think food plays in my overall health. Is like I really want to control. Like when I'm full and stop. But then you get to that place like, yeah, I paid $30 for this food. You even go into the buffet. It's like I'm paying this all this money. I'm gonna get my money worth. But yeah. And so I think for me, just the childhood. And my sister and I talked about this. We don't know. We never had a real like conversation about it. But I think just us as sisters, we talked about it. We think that could have been from childhood. Mommy's like, clean your plate. You not. And then we grew up like we got to clean our plate. And so now it's like, I don't want to clean my plate. But then it's like, bro, this is too expensive. I don't want to waste food. And you go into that, even you portion size. You still have that extra. For me, it's like, I still have that extra moment like, dang, see, that was real good. And like, you all are married or, most of you are married. I'm single by myself. So I was telling Kia,
Same girl.
yeah, like you cook, you eat the same food, right, for the whole week. And it's like, who else is eating your food? And then you got it. It's food plays it's a mental and health because it's like, I want to stop when I know I have these portions. I know I have the scale. I know what to do. I drink my protein shakes. I take my fiber pills. But then at the end, it's like just that little bit. Am I full or is it that good? Like, what do I do? And so
Back to mental health as well, right?
Yeah.
Because we talked about like it was taboo to go to a therapist because back in the day it was you don't be no therapist because you're good or whatever. And it's stuff that we grew up with, to your point, that we just carried on to even, I know my grandparents raised me, and it was whatever happens in this house stays in this house.
Yep.
So you didn't talk about it. You was okay, whatever happens here. To your point, you finish your plate. I don't ever see that. I see that plate crying.
Look at me now.
And I taught that to my son hates grits. Hates grits. And I remember if he was a kid, I had a belt. You got to finish that plate. So those are things that we learn.
You carry them on the chest.
You bring up a great point.
Yes.
So the relationship can be cultural.
Oh, yeah, we celebrate with food and every, a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
And food was a comfort for me. It was, especially after when my dad passed when I was 10, it's like that, you're on the cusp of, puberty. And I think when I lost my dad, because I was a daddy's girl, I turned to junk food. And that like, is food and I have had a love-hate relationship since I was about 10 years old. And it comes from me, I think, throughout high school, and it's like you gain and then you feel bad about yourself, and then you eat some more, and then you gain, and then you know. And so it went through like that, and then you have the bullying, and then all of that stuff. And so it up until I was, I say, almost 30 years old, because even my mother, she would, baby, you're still beautiful. Even when I was almost, let's see, almost 400 pounds, my mother told me nothing was wrong. Like she still felt that, I was healthy, that I didn't have issues. But I was like, Mom, this is, I love you, but this is not her. And so I had to take upon myself at almost 30 years old that I didn't think I was going to live to be 38, past when my dad passed at 38. So I was like, you got to do something. So I tried everything that there was until I found, a friend of mine had some medical intervention. So I did that and I lost, most half of my body. But it's like food now, then it was, I live to eat. I would be eating and like breakfast, I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat for lunch. Eating lunch, thinking about what I'm going to have, and so now it's like, I eat healthier. I love vegetables and stuff. Now it's, I eat just for nourishment, and so I, snack and all that stuff now, but still, but overall, I'm like, yeah, it's so love hate sometimes.
If you could change one thing about how you take care of yourself, what would it be? What?
I guess with me, I would exercise more. Cause I have the equipment at home, but I'm just lazy.
That's fair.
And I was like, with age said, your weight goes up and down. It's like a love and hate relationship that I knew I need to lose the weight. I've been having different medical problems, and I know I need to lose. And it's just hard knowing what to eat and stuff. Also, I was diagnosed with a fatty liver. Doctor said, "Don't worry about it." But everywhere I read, it said, "Don't ignore it. You got to change the way you eat." So, and I got to lose weight, everything. Any medical problem you had, the first thing is you got to lose weight. So,
Thanks for just
can't do
I know it's a conversation, but I'm sorry. The public, of course, maybe has to interject. And you do know that your insurance will cover a dietitian to help you with that.
it. Yes.
Okay. Make sure because I know they will cover certain if you're like lactating, they'll cover if you're trying to lose weight, they can assign something to you. That would be like any assistance to you figuring out.
I started talking to one, but the company that I went through, every time you look, they kept leaving. So he canceled my appointment. So I haven't gone to anybody else.
Okay.
Same thing.
Wow. Okay. I think too.
And
I'm about to say, don't take it. No, what I'm about to say is it also culturally it's different, right? Because culturally, I go to the doctor, they tell me I'm obese.
Hmm?
Yes.
I carry my weight in places that other people don't carry their weight. So when they look at my body fat, they're like, "You're obese, then you need to lose weight." Yes, I need to lose weight. However, I'm not obese. Like, so I think that we have to stop looking at one size fits all and then everybody, because even um when you look at African Americans, Caucasians, Asians, everyone has a different body type within that, that culture too. So how I may carry my weight, someone else may carry their weight different. But when you look at the BMI scale, there's only one BMI scale and it says this is what you are.
Yep.
So you can tell me I need to lose weight, but is that my real problem or is it something else? And I think that we have to get to the bottom of that as well.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. You bring up a good point.
We have a comment from the live.
Okay.
From our
And then we'll get to the comment. But you bring up a
okay.
good point,
Yes.
because the BMI scale, it is just based on one
Mm-hmm.
race and doesn't take into fact diverse backgrounds. So that is something that needs to be looked at in the overall. All right.
We have a comment from the chat from our chapter president, Desiree Nelson. She said, I tend to snack when I'm bored and watching TV. In most cases, I know what I choose to eat is not good for me. And as a result, gaining weight, shaking my head.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Thank you for sharing that. All right, and I think we're done with personal health reflection. We're at 6:36. Let's do maybe one, two from family health. I want to use every category, but we might not be able to use every part in every. What health conditions run in your family, and how has that knowledge shaped your choices? I think we went over that.
In the family? Oh, what I can answer. I haven't answered anything yet. Um, my grandmother had lung cancer. Um, my family, we have a lot of the older women in my family smoke cigarettes. And I never smoked one a day in my life because my mother had asthma, which might have been because all the older women in my family smoked so cigarettes. So that definitely shaped my choices. I've been around cigarette smoke all my life, but then I developed asthma. And so it's one of those things. It's like, okay, I watched my grandmother be diagnosed with lung cancer in 2004, quit cold turkey. The day they told her that she had lung cancer, she quit smoking cold turkey because they told my mom she had 3 months to live. She quit cold turkey, ended up living for 10 more years. Yes, that shaped my choice. Definitely, that even when a doctor tells you you're obese or you have this or you have that, that day, if you make that decision, it could turn everything around that day. So I definitely take heed once the doctor tells me something. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna become Wonder Woman today and make a change because we got to stay realistic. But just a small change can definitely buy you some time, buy you more time on this earth.
I want to zoom past that point you made, because usually when you get a diagnosis of lung cancer, it is.
Yeah,
The fact
they told her 3 months.
Yeah, the fact that she was able to live 15 years.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So we kind of talked about this. Do you guys mind if I go on to another question, or is there
No, we can.
another conversation? Okay. Next question. How openly does your family talk about health issues, and how can those conversations improve?
I can continue with that. No, like when my grandmother was diagnosed, and like I said, they told 3 months. So we are in a panic. 3 months passed, 6 months passed, 8 months passed. And, after a year, we're like, Beam, I think you got this under control. But once it became aggressive, as the matriarch and the glue, that cultural thing of what happens in this house stays in this house, or we have to talk, we got to a point it couldn't be that anymore. We're at this point making arrangements. Who's going to rotate out? We have to learn how to change a bed with somebody in it. And you shouldn't wait until it gets that bad to have those conversations, to make plans, to delegate who does what, because you're already in a heightened state of emotion. And then you're trying to make decisions, you're trying to work with family members doing that. And now you have tension because we're both feeling, we're both feeling our feelings. And so I think culturally, especially, we should have those conversations earlier. 'Cause I know my daddy does not like to talk about nobody's will. But then when I'm like, okay, you're gonna leave all this stuff just for us to figure out, So I think we should definitely be more proactive than reactive.
You can't talk about it once they're gone.
Exactly.
I'll share really quickly, then I have to run a class at 7 at VCU, and I don't want to leave. So my mom was diagnosed with heart failure, and it was as a result of, we think, the chemo from treatment for breast cancer. So we were all excited when the breast cancer was gone, and then we realized that it had damaged her heart. Similar to Dom's grandmother, once she was diagnosed with heart failure, she lived for 10 years.
Yes.
And it was amazing that she had that much more time with us. But the one thing that she did, which is kind of funny now that we look back, the entire family for Sunday dinner, we had no salt. So when she first started that, it was a tough, it was a tough conversation. Right? So we're eating like baked chicken and greens, and it's like no salt. And so the dinner conversation was, the room was quiet because we were just trying to get this food down. And it was so funny, but we all did it for her.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it helped save her life and prolong her life for those years. And it got to the point where when she passed in 2019, like I would go to like Chick-fil-A or something, or McDonald's, and get fries, and I would taste them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is horrible, right? Because of the salt. And shame on our family, because after she died, we started
Went right back to the salt.
But we thought, we look back at it and the things that we do for love for our loved
Yes.
ones. And she was adamant that she was going to find other ways to season her food. And it helped. And it showed us that we could live without the salt. And we probably all felt better while we did it. But we gradually went back to it. And with that, guys, have tons of fun. I'm sorry I have to run. I'll miss you. All right, next question.
What health legacy do you want to leave for the next generation of your family?
I think that point at the top, the factoid at the top, understanding family health history, being in the kidney space with my work, knowing your family history is so paramount to heading off kidney disease. Because if high blood pressure or diabetes are running in your family, then you're much more at risk. But if you're not talking about those things, and you don't know, we've got to have this conversation. So we've got to know our health history.
And a lot of times when something comes up, then that's when you find out that it runs in your family. So me and my daughter, we thought about it because she keeps coming to me and said, well, Mom, is this in the family? We thought about getting one of those forms that you go to the doctor and say, what the family has, and just give it to the family and check it off. And then that way she has it and anybody else has it that needs it.
Yeah.
Next question. How can we talk about this?
Yeah.
So let's just get through the family health legacy, because we touched on that. Keep going. Go sit back to community health. And if we have time, we'll get back to that. Kidney health awareness. So approximately 90% of adults with kidney disease do not know they have it. What do you know about kidney health and the role kidney plays in the body? You can't answer.
But I do want to say, look, I took this job last summer. I didn't know a doggone thing about my kidneys when I took this job. I knew I had 2 kidneys. And that's not it. And I'm well educated. And as I've
been in this job longer and longer and learning the science. I'm like, how did I not know this stuff?
Yes.
This is a vital organ. Why is no one talking about this? And they're not, the conversation doesn't happen about kidneys, but they're as vital as your heart or your brain or any of your other vital. Why aren't we talking about that? How was I 52 years old and didn't know anything about my kidneys, you know?
And you can tell we're not talking about it because of that statistic right there. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
can you, I was not one of the cards, but could you talk about that test that,
Yeah, sure. So the problem with kidney disease is that there are 5 stages. In the first 3 stages, there are no symptoms. So by the time you get to the end of stage 3 and you're into stage 4, you need to go on dialysis or maybe even need a transplant. So you think you're perfectly fine. And I hear this almost every day. I hear a new case of this where someone goes to the doctor, everything seems fine. They have, there's a blood test and a urine test, an EFGR and an ACR. They can do it with all of your other labs. They're not expensive. You get those done and find out you're in stage 4 kidney failure and you need to go on a transplant list. Well, yesterday you were fine and you had no idea. It happens all the time. And the problem is that even if the doctors are doing these tests, they're not discussing the results with patients. So you've got to go into that portal where you can get all of your lab results. You've got to look at those numbers and figure out what they mean. Because I was terrible for that. I wouldn't even look at the portal. You know, all the doctor says it's fine. Well, I talked to a lady recently. She was in stage 4 renal failure. She went back and looked at her labs. It was all right there. You can see the gradual progression of her kidneys failing. The doctor never said a word to her.
Wow.
And so, her question to me was, why didn't anybody tell me? I don't know. You've got to advocate for yourself. You've got to watch those labs. So it's a urine test and a blood test, very easy to do. They can tell you what stage of kidney disease you're in and you know how your kidneys are functioning. And they can do it with all your other labs. It's so easy. And I don't know why it's not happening more often.
What's the name for it? What lab?
EFGR is one, and then ACR is
What's it on?
EFGR
write that down on the line?
and ACR.
It's called kidney, like say lab test.
Yeah, just your kidney function, what kidney function test. And if you tell them there's a blood test and a urine test, they should know what that is. Though I say that, I just moved back to Virginia last summer and had to get a new doctor. And I went in and asked for the test and they looked at me like I was crazy. And they were like, well, you don't have any problems with your kidneys. Why do you want those? I said, well, I work for the National Kidney Foundation and I preach this all day long. So I think I need to have these tests. But they acted like I really shouldn't even be asking for them because I wasn't having problems. But there are no symptoms in the first 3 stages of kidney disease, so I wouldn't have known if I had problems. So my biggest lesson to people is you've got to advocate for yourself. And we all get that white coat syndrome. We go in and the doctor says, oh, you're fine. And we just let them tell us that. But you've got to ask questions. And if it doesn't feel right, the fatty liver thing, if you don't feel right about it, go talk to somebody else or do your own research. Don't let them just blow you off because it's just too important. You've got to be your own advocate.
And it sounds like it should be, that test or those tests should be a standard
It should
practice
be.
of care. If you're not exhibiting symptoms, then as standard, it should just be a part of it.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? If you have a parent that had kidney failure and they were on dialysis and due to diabetes and you are not diabetic, would you still recommend
You're
that?
still at
Oh,
higher
yes.
risk.
Because my mother she was on dialysis. She had kidney failure due to diabetes. She was insulin dependent since she was like 23. And she her doctor discovered that she was in renal failure in like her middle 50s. And my mom was on dialysis for almost 10 years. And she passed, she developed heart failure. And so I was wondering if that's something that,
Yeah, if you've got a family history
yeah.
of diabetes, high blood pressure, or kidney failure, you are at higher risk. You need to pay attention to those kidney numbers. Diabetes is the #1 cause of kidney failure, and high blood pressure is the second. And they usually don't get into pain.
My son, he was probably 6th, 7th grade,
and he had blood in his urine. And so we would go take tests, and they were like, we don't know where it's coming from. So we went to the children's hospital, and they did some tests, and they pretty much, his kidneys don't filter out like protein or something. That's all the protein in his urine. Right, so he had to go have a biopsy done. Had the biopsy done. They said he didn't have kidney disease. It's just something that's happened, so you'll be fine. But it was kind of like, but this isn't normal. Like, so why is it just fine? Well, carry this paper around. So when he goes to the doctor, tell him this is what you have, and that he's 21 now, and it's almost like I have to tell him to advocate for himself because I can't do it anymore. That's right. Yeah. But we know that you had this when you were little, so I need you to advocate for yourself. But it's so many. We just take the doctor's word because you know it is what it is.
Well, we were told to listen to what they tell us.
And that could be a good and bad thing.
Yeah,
Bad thing that we just listen, and then, good thing that when they tell us that we need to act, that we actually act.
And advocating is great, but sometimes like you don't know
What you don't know.
Yes. How do you advocate and stuff, you don't know what to advocate for. So, that's why conversations like these are important, because we all, a lot of us would have known like to, I mean, I know the test is a competition, but we would have known about the test, to ask for. All right, next slide. Question. Do you know your kidney health risk factors? Have you ever experienced? So, I think we kind of covered that. Next question. Black Americans are nearly 40 times more likely to develop kidney failure than white Americans. Why do you think kidney disease disproportionately affects some communities? I'll wait to answer this. You guys.
It's not lack of knowledge. I mean, Marissa took the position and didn't know all that about her kidneys. So you talking about a community where our parents and grandparents don't even talk about their health issues with us until we have to go to the doctor with them and look at their test like we looking at a report card, like, okay now. So it is, and when you don't know, then you pass it down, and then they don't know. So it's a snowball effect.
Yes. It goes back to how you mentioned diabetes and high blood pressure. How we eat is way different. To the point, we put salt and everything. We got to flavor it up. We eat. I can't eat a steak if it don't have fat on it, so I'm eating fat. So how we eat can contribute to that as well. So.
I would, when I used to talk about different risk factors about why we may need more kidney transplants than other races. It used to be some of those things, and some of those things are true. But there's also things like health equity issues that we can't neglect to talk about. There were, as recently, I think it was 2021, where the testing for getting on the kidney waiting list or transplant list was different because of how they would have the tests run in the labs. It would make it so that the time where Black people would get listed was a little more delayed because of how the calculations are. They've since changed that. So there's a lot of health equity issues too around that. Yes, there's the eating, there's the cultural thing, there's the blood pressure, diabetes. But if you're the type of care you're giving, and then if policies are set up so that they're systemic and they're causing you not to get waitlisted in time and different things, or not catching the disease in time with treatment before it even gets to the point where you need a transplant, then these are issues that need to be addressed as well. We can do our part, we can eat healthier, we can exercise, but it can be systemic as well.
That's a major initiative that we have with the National Kidney Foundation, is that kidney equity for all. And I think we played a big role in changing that factor in the transplant calculation. It's like a point system, and the points were
less for African-American transplants than they were for others. And so all of that had changed, but it makes no sense. Makes no sense. It's definitely,
It was not, there's no genetic, it was.
no, there was no reason,
Right.
no physical reason, biological.
So you mentioned a point system. Can you talk about that a little bit?
It's a little confusing, but it's essentially, I call it a point system. There's probably a better way to describe it. Kia, correct me if I'm wrong, but based on, you know, your age, maybe your current health state, there's a ranking system for where you fall on the transplant list. So a young person, for instance, with a lot of life ahead of them might be higher on the transplant list than maybe my 82-year-old father, you know, and so there are a lot of different factors that come into play, but it is a list, you know, there is a rating kind of system that goes into figuring that out. Now, it's different if you have, you know, someone who agrees to donate for you, then you don't go on that list. But if you're just on the open list, yeah, it's definitely a ranking type of system. And there are still issues with it, but I think it's much better than it used to
It's much better.
Is it true, or can you elaborate? I know a personal story of someone else who was actually on dialysis. And I think if I remember the story correctly, I guess they were eligible for a kidney transplant, but I guess it's a certain test you have to run maybe at that time. And I think they were maybe sick or something, maybe blood pressure was high, something like that. Right when they got approved, I guess whatever test the doctors ran at that current moment, and it's kind of like they lost their kidney, their donation.
Sick.
Mm.
So if they think that you're not gonna survive or the transplant is going to be successful, then they won't go through with the operation.
But they don't tell the patient that part.
They tell the patient that.
Oh, they say, well, we don't think you'll make it through it. Oh.
Well, they'll be, I'm sure the best I've done is better than.
Right.
But, you know, you have to be honest with them. This is too risky, you know, and you gotta think about it, transplant centers, they want their rate of success to be high, so they don't want to risk doing a transplant and it fails, so they have to take that into consideration.
And how long does a person like actually they handle? What is the longevity of dialysis? I guess if you're on dialysis, how long can a person?
Depends on the
The
patient.
patient.
It's very tough on your system.
Yeah.
But it's rough, my grandma was in dialysis for years, and she was amazing. She still drove and she swam and worked out, but later in her life, it took a toll. It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah, so. All right, next question. That's good. What's that some people take to protect their kidney health, starting today?
The test.
That's
EMTR, and drink water, lots and lots of water.
Lots of water.
Yeah, because it's, you know, that's helping to filter, your kidneys are filters. I mean, this is something I also didn't know. I didn't know what kidneys did. They're filters, and so that water helps kind of keep those filters clean and you know, working properly. So water, hydration is such a big thing for kidney health.
all right. One more question, and then I'll get you guys to do the survey, not really a survey, but feedback. We already talked about that. So, okay. How can we make kidney health education more accessible in our communities?
Let me come talk to every.
And there you go.
Yes,
Yeah.
come to the kidney walk in October.
Yeah.
No, seriously, you know, there hasn't been much of a presence for the National Kidney Foundation in this area in quite a while. And so I came on in the summer of last year, and that's my job, is kind of rebuilding our presence here because the conversation is not happening. And the only way I know to make it happen is to do things like this, or I'm shouting from the rooftops. You know, everybody, and my husband's like, would you please stop asking people about their kidneys? But I can't because it's too important, you know, and it's a vital organ and people don't understand how important it is. So if you have a community group or your church or anyone that is looking for a speaker, I'm happy to come and talk because people have to understand this. We're just watching, 14 people are dying every day on the transplant list. There are nearly 100,000 people waiting for kidneys right now. And there aren't enough, and so we've got to get people before they get to dialysis, before they need a transplant. We need them to understand what to do to prevent this from ever happening first, because it's preventable. So much of kidney disease is completely preventable if we understand what we need to do.
And
We don't.
do you discuss like the diet and stuff? Like,
Yeah.
can you explain some things?
Yeah, so, and like I said, water is really good, you want to limit your salt intake, anything that's, diabetes being the top, cause or a link to kidney disease, obviously, you want to keep your sugar under control. All of those things we know we need to do that we don't do, I don't do them either, I mean, like, I want the popcorn, really, Our society is built around food, we go to the movies, we eat popcorn, we go to a ball game, we get a hot dog, everything, we come here, we have snacks. We don't make the right choice, we know what the choices are, but we're not making them, so it's limiting salt, limiting sugar, plenty of hydration, fruits and vegetables. Low, keep your protein in healthy proteins, we're talking about this, I love a good steak, I love good fatty steak. But we've got to make better choices, and we can head it off, we can slow it down if it started, but we have to make those choices.
I'm done, guys. Keep going. Keep going, all the way to the end. Boom.
Boom.
This has been a wonderful discussion, and I thank you all for coming. If you could just scan this QR code, share your feedback. After you share your feedback, you will get your very own copy of the community health conversation cards. We did not get to go through all of them tonight, but the idea is that you can take those cards and then discuss them in your own groups, game night, family conversation. Because I get it, these topics, these topics I can do on the table when you're around family. So in a card format, maybe a little more easier and engaging. So thank you all. Thank you for this. And I would love to hear your feedback.
Kia, can you speak to the mic, Janet, please?
That was a wonderful discussion, and thank you all for participating. For good health wins and understanding kidneys, make sure you're drinking water, limit your salt, exercise, 5 o'clock in the morning, right, puppies? But no, have these conversations with your family and friends so we can all live longer and be around. Thank you all for joining. Talk to you later. Bye.
Good.